Kagome woke up to the feeling of someone tracing her face with their fingers, and a small sting on the side of her neck. The Miko groaned as she struggled to open her eyes for a moment, but once they fluttered open, she found herself staring at the most beautiful pair of golden eyes she had ever seen. The young Miko bolted up, taking her head out of the half-demon's lap. Whoa there, Kagome. You shouldn't get up like that. You could hurt yourself, the half-demon said calmly. Kagome looked around to see she was in some sort of cave-like chamber. The bed she and the half-demon were sitting on was covered in silk, fur, and satin sheets. The rock walls had a lit torch in each corner. There was even a large wardrobe of silk kimonos next to the bed. Where am I? Who are you? Why am I here? Kagome asked frantically, looking around the room. The half-demon smiled at her. I'm the next dog god. This is my home, but from now on it'll also be yours, he said, making Kagome's eyes widen. What? But how can you be a god? You're a half-demon, the Miko prompted, feeling more confused than ever before. The dog god smirked as he tried to reach for Kagome's hand with his own, only for her to flinch away from his touch, making him sigh. I know you're afraid of me, but you don't have to be, he said as he took the Miko's hand and kissed it softly. Kagome blushed. He's being so gentle with me. But why? He's a half-demon. Shouldn't he be ready to kill me? Wait, is it possible that what Kaede told me about all those with demon blood in them being evil was a lie? Kagome thought to herself. No, that can't be true. She would never lie to me. Is something on your mind, Kagome? The half-demon suddenly asked. Kagome bit her lip. Yes, you still haven't answered my questions. How is it that you are a god even though you are a half-demon? I also want to know what you mean by you saying that you're the next dog god, the Miko questioned. The dog god smiled. Oh, right, sorry. It's a bit of a long story, but you deserve to know, he proclaimed. It all started when my father, Toga, and my half-older brother, Sesshomaru, came to this area looking for a new place to call home and start a new life. My brother's mother had died, and our father wanted a quiet life for his son. So when he found this place, a cave with many chambers, they settled here and made it their new home. One day there was a demon attack on a nearby village. My father was passing by, and when he saw a young, beautiful human woman about to be killed by a large ogre, and when my father saw the woman's frightened face, he knew he had to help. And without a second thought, he slayed the ogre, saving the young woman who begged him to save her village. And after he did so, the people of the settlement thought he was a god, since he could take the form of a dog, they called him the dog god. My father then decided he would forever remain by the village to protect it. The villagers had no idea that he was a demon, so they often gave him food, sacrifices, and other goods, so he would continue to keep the village safe. Not long after this all started, he fell in love with and married a young woman he saved from the ogre. My mother, the dog god trailed off. Kagome's eyes widened. Your mother was human and your father was the dog demon, making you... Kagome stopped, trying not to offend the dog god. Yes, making me a half-dog demon. It's okay, I know what I am. But anyway, my mother died at least 5 years ago, and my father died a few weeks later out of grief. It was real tough. My older brother Sesshomaru took our father's place as the next dog god, and he was in that position for at least 2 years, until he too fell in love with a human woman. Her name was Rin. Together she and my brother left for a more simple life in the southeast, leaving me to be the next dog god. Though being a god was a way for me to get any luxury I wanted, there was one thing I knew I could only provide for myself, and I longed for so much. A wife. The dog god said, finishing his tale of woe. Kagome was speechless. Never had she heard such a sad story. Is every half-demon story as sad as this one? She asked before she could stop herself. The dog god looked down. Sadly, with every half-demon you meet, there's a sadder story. At least that's all I've seen it. For 2 long years, I felt like there was nothing to live for. I kept the village safe like my father and brother did before me. But I never saw anything worthwhile in my life. That is, until about a year ago. I had been the dog god for 2 years, and I was viewing your village through a mirror pond, a pond that lets me see anything through air and liquid. And I saw you. I had never seen anyone so beautiful. For a year I watched you through my mirror pond. In the process I felt deeper in love with you than I ever thought would be possible. That being said, at my shrine on the hill. I spoke to your guardian, Kaede, and told her I wanted to marry you. But she told me she'd never let you marry anyone, not even the dog god. 3 times I asked her for your hand, but every time the stubborn old hag refused. I couldn't take it anymore." The half-demon trailed off, letting Kagome catch on. "So you kidnapped me and attacked my village with demons to get what you wanted?" she asked flatly. The dog demon then pulled her into a tight embrace. "I promise you your village is safe. The demons I sent only caused a scare and did nothing else. My captain of the guard and her partner made sure of it," he promised, but Kagome only squirmed out of the hug. "How can I trust anything you tell me? You kidnapped me," she stated. The dog god sighed. "Kagome, I love you deeper than you could imagine. I would never lie to you. And that being said, you can call me by my real name, INUYASHA. I don't want you to think of me as a god, but as your husband," he said patiently. But the Miko's face was unchanged. "Look, INUYASHA, it's nice you want me to be your wife, but I have to go home. Kaede is—" Kagome started, but INUYASHA cut her off. "You're tired of that old hag treating you like a child, right? This way you can be free of her wrath, since this is an underground cave area that only I can find ways in and out of. And there's also a spell on it to make sure no one gets in. She'll never find you here. And also, since I marked you, The dog god started, but was cut off by the young Miko before him. "Wait, marked me? You don't mean—" Kagome trailed off as her hand went to the side of her neck that stung. Her eyes widened. She felt a mark of a pair of fangs on her neck. "No," Kagome trailed off. She knew that when a male demon or a male half-demon bit the side of a female's neck, then that meant they were from then on mated to the demon who sank their fangs into them. "That's right. I marked you so that we'll be together forever. Of course we'll also marry in a human way, since you're a human, and I'm a half-human. It's only fair," stated INUYASHA as he took Kagome's hand in his and kissed it again. Kagome couldn't speak. In just the past few hours, her life had been changed forever. She was now the mate and bride of a demon. Well, a half-demon. But either way, this troubled her so greatly. I can't be your wife, or your mate," the young Miko managed to say. INUYASHA raised his brow. "Why not?" he questioned. Kagome bit her lip. "I'm a Miko, and you're a half-demon. We could never work out," she stated. "Not to mention, my destiny is only to be a Miko, and nothing else. Especially not a wife," she stated. INUYASHA smirked. "Your destiny is whatever you decide. Your choice and yours alone. No one, not even a dumb old hag like Kaede, can decide your fate," he stated. Kagome frowned. "Hey, I won't have you speak poorly of the woman who raised me like that," the young Miko snapped, standing up from the bed with her hands at her side, balled up into fists. "Well, you can't blame me for saying that. She was holding you back from happiness, and your desire to have friends, finding love," the dog god trailed off. Kagome's eyes widened. How did you know that?" she questioned cautiously. INUYASHA smiled softly as he stood up from the bed in front of Kagome and cupped her face in his rough hands. "I told you. I watched you through the Mimira pond. And as I watched you, I heard you talking to yourself about your dreams. Whenever you talked about this, I saw such sadness in those beautiful brown eyes. Sadness that I wanted to get rid of so I could see you smile again," said the dog god. "Kagome, I chose you as my mate, not only because you're beautiful, but because INUYASHA started, but was cut off when someone knocked on the sliding door. My lord, Kilala and I have finished slaying the remaining demons," a young woman called from the other side of the door. INUYASHA swore under his breath and took his hands off of Kagome's face and turned to the door. "Yeah, okay, Sango, come on in," the dog god called. With that, a young woman walked into the room, and Kagome nearly screamed. Next to the young woman was a large, lion-sized, yellow and black, two-tailed Neko demon, with red eyes and a black star shape on its forehead. The young woman wore pink, black demon slayer armor, and she had brown-black hair and a high ponytail and was holding a large boomerang bone. Sango noticed Kagome right away and smiled. "You must be Lady Kagome. It's an honor to finally meet you. My name is Sango. I'm the captain of the guard for Lord INUYASHA's army, and this is Kilala, my partner," the woman stated, patting the large, two-tailed Neko's head. "Sango here will be your maid as well as captain of my army. So if you ever need anything and I'm not around, call Sango here and she will come to aid you," prompted INUYASHA, turning back to Sango and Kilala. "I want you to have Kagome ready for the marriage ceremony by sunset," he demanded. Yes, my lord, replied Sango as she and Kilala bowed their heads to the dog god, who turned back to Kagome and took her hands in his own. I'll see you in a few hours. I'll miss you. But once we marry, we'll have eternity together, he promised as he pecked the side of the Miko's cheek and held her hands for as long as he could before walking out of the room and closing the sliding door in his wake. Sango turned back to Kagome. So, my lady, I believe you've had quite a day, so how about I show you to the hot springs? The captain suggested. Kagome considered this. If I can get out of this room, there would be a better chance of me getting out of here, she thought to herself. Yes, please, the Miko said in a small voice. Sango smiled and beckoned Kagome to follow her. I will get out of here, no matter what it costs me. Hold on, Kaede. I'm on my way, the young Miko thought to herself determinedly.